Yo, and what is going on YouTube, and welcome back for another Oathbreaker video. Now today we're going to be going over signature spells in white. If you guys missed out on our last video with signature spells in blue, make sure to pause it here and go back and check that one out. If you guys are enjoying the format, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys are interested in MagiKids, the official charity of the Oathbreaker team, make sure to check out those links in the description box down below. But now let's quickly go over kind of the signature spell and what it is. The signature spell is an instant or sorcery within the color identity of your Oathbreaker Planeswalker. It kind of lives in the command zone as a pair. Now, your signature spell can only be cast if your Oathbreaker is on the battlefield, as well as it does carry that 2 mana tax after each additional cast. For instance, if we cast Lightning Bolt the first time, the next time it's going to cost 2 and a red. Now this also applies to alternative casting costs, things like Madness, maybe even the Force of Will card. Now the other question that we see a lot is, yes, the signature spell is always going to return to the command zone. It can't go to the graveyard, or it can't be shuffled into the deck. Now let's jump right on into the top signature spells that I like for Oathbreaker in white. Now the first is going to be Teferi's Protection. Now Teferi's Protection is just an utterly gross card. It does exactly that. It gives you the ultimate protection. It phases everything you control out. You can't lose life. Your life total can't change. There's a reason that this card says exile Teferi's Protection after it's cast. It's just because it's so powerful. If you're playing Teferi, Hero of Dominaria with Teferi's Protection, and you have the lands, and you can +2 him to untap 2 lands, and then you have that, that's essentially your tax for casting this each turn, and it just kind of gives you a lot of time to kind of set up your pieces, especially if you're in like a blue-white control build. The other cards I like that are very similar are Holy Day or Hallow. Both are instants where you prevent damage that are dealt. Hollow is where you kind of gain life equal to the damage prevented this way. This is kind of really good if you're playing against, big burn decks that are just going to try to burn you out for 20 damage. Now the next is Eerie Interlude, and this is one that I'm kind of really looking into right now. It's exile any number of target creatures you control, return those cards to the battlefield under their controllers at the beginning of the next end step. Now this is really good for flicker decks, and I really like it with Venser the Sojourner. Exile all of our creatures, they return at the end step, and we get all of those additional enter the battlefield effects. I also really like this since these cards are all at instant speed for evasion. Someone targets your Stoneforge Mystic with a Lightning Bolt, you can cast a Pheramate and exile the Stoneforge Mystic, and then it'll return to the battlefield under its controller's control, and then you'll get that additional enter the battlefield effect. Now the next is Steel Shaper's Gift. This is really kind of driving for the Voltron strategy for your Oathbreaker deck. This is really good with Nahiri. Really any of the versions of Nahiri are great for this. I'm not sure if there's any other planeswalkers that really lend themselves to Voltron strategies in terms of equipment. Estrid is really good with enchantments and auras, but it also gives us that great tutoring effect where we can just go and find whatever we want. It is only at sorcery speed, so it's that's a little bit of a restriction on the card, but we also have a couple others. Open the Armory is really good for kind of a budget build if you're looking for that. It costs 1 additional mana, and Board the Weatherlight is very similar. 1 in a white sorcery, but you look at the top 5 cards of your library, you reveal a historic, so an artifact, legendary, or saga, and put that into your hand, and the rest go on the bottom of the library in a random order. So it's very similar where you just find the sword of the Jit or whatever you're looking for, that goes to your hand. So you have a lot of cool options for Voltron strategies. Now the next card is one that I have lost to probably half a dozen times. Approach of the Second Sun. If it was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, you put it 7th from the top and you gain 7 life. Now, this card isn't good as a signature spell, but I really just wanted to cover it in this video because in kind of blue-white control strategies, especially with, you have all of the, top deck manipulation with Jace, Brainstorm, where you can scry cards away to the bottom, and really kind of bring this card back up to the top of your deck and then cast it again. It is just kind of an auto win con in control decks. And you do also just gain 7 life, so that kind of buys you time to dig through your deck to cast it a second time. Now, the next is going to be Path to Exile. Path to Exile is like the ultimate removal for me. It exiles target creature, but they do get a basic land card from their library. It's really good for removal, and I really like the option of just targeting your own creatures, especially if you're light on lands, and you can kind of go fetch up what you need. There's also Swords to Plowshare and Oblation. Swords to Plowshare, you're going to get that additional life gain. Again, this is a really good option for you to kind of target your own creature if you need to. Oblation is where you're going to shuffle that non-land permanent into his library and then draw 2 cards. Now, Replenish is one that I really like for enchantments and auras. It'd be really good with Estrid, and it can finish a game. 3 and a white, a sorcery, return all enchantments from your graveyard to play. Now, we also have Retether. Retether is a very similar card to this, but it only looks at auras. And, you have to have a creature in play for the auras to work. The way I like these cards is you can Replenish or Retether, and then you would cast Winds of Wrath. Winds of Wrath would just destroy all the creatures that aren't enchanted, and then you just go to beats because you'll have just an open board to kind of get your creatures in with all of the auras and enchantments that are on them. The next card, Wrath of God. Wrath of God is a very good card. I don't know there's not a whole lot to say about this card. 2 white sorcery, destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated. Just wiping the board is so powerful. One thing I don't really love is having this card in the command zone as the signature spell. It's extremely good in the deck because sometimes you just need to buy extra time to kind of get your creatures going if you're kind of a mid to late game strategy. We also have Day of Judgment and Cleansing Nova. Again, they're all at sorcery speed. Just destroying all creatures and having that ability to kind of wipe the board and buy yourself more time is very powerful. The only reason I don't like it as a signature spell is because it's well known. People oftentimes play around that if they know that you have a wrath effect in your command zone. So you'd really have to be prepared to cast your Planeswalker and cast the Wrath kind of all on the same turn. Otherwise, they're just going to target you. So that is one thing about this card. But guys, that's going to be it for our video on signature spells in white. If you guys are enjoying the Oathbreaker videos, make sure to like and subscribe. If you guys have a particular color that you'd want to see for our next video, make sure to leave a comment down below. But otherwise, I will catch you guys later.